request Mr. Sainath S., Entrepreneur in Residence, TRST score, to give industry presentation, Employee and Agents Risk Mitigation. Please, sir.
So good evening, friends. I guess I'm the penultimate speaker for the day, and thank you for all your patience staying on a little longer. My name is Sainath. I'm an entrepreneur in residence, the company called Trusco, and trust without you. So that's what we call. So primarily, we are the world's only trust score platform. It's similar to your credit score. So basically, the idea is about to have the verified workforce or the verified talent factory. That's in the gist. So what does the trust score do? The trust score unveils the unethical behavior at the bud during your screening process, as well as during your recruitment process. And that apart, we also look at mitigating the risk of employees against the ethical practices. So that's what we do. Yeah, these are the two articles which had come recently, one in Times of India and the other in Money Control. So we have seen the post-pandemic couple of employees moonlighting with 7 or more companies, which is kind of a ghast to understand. And this looks like a new practices that many of them run around many places, for earning little extra, but which is quite against the norms. And that apart, we have seen the startups hiring at large, with affluent of many startups on the way. So if you look at it in the process, our startups are quite in a hurry. In the process, they leave way with a lot of chinks in the process, and moreover, that gives way for pilferation of data, that gives way for data theft. And a couple of examples we have seen, with companies like BharatPay or Trello and Paytm with this sort of employees, because the startups tend to do too many things altogether, which is very important. But at the same time, they also lack the leadership pipeline, and especially in the mid-level. So this is an other report of HDFC Bank. So we have seen the subcontracting staff, duping the bank themselves. So this is kind of serious issues again, because the dependency of temp companies is too high, and because subcontracting people, with the large companies or reputed companies, which also foil the names. And we have seen the credentials of the clients being distorted and also being shared with the cyber crooks. There's a lot of examples on the way. And these are tip of the iceberg. So yeah, this is an undaunting problem. This is a problem we are trying to look at it. And this is a serious problem. If you look at it, $800 billion is been lost due to unethical behavior globally. So what I mean is around 8 out of 10 companies do not report these ethical behaviors because of their reputations, or because of their brand, because of a lot of things at stake. That is something people try to avoid reporting seriously. And 30% of companies go bankrupt because of unethical behavior. 50% of fake credentials come out in market, and these guys join all around and create a ruckus in the corporate world. And we also know that 75% of employees at least have misused their position once in their lifetime. That's something around. And all this recurs the cost of background verification, which is very, very high. And the time taken for the background verification should be around 4 to 6 weeks. And that apart, the kind of information which comes out, looms benefit of doubt either side. Yeah, so this is the serious example, with SKS Microfinance. They went bankrupt because of their own people. So we have seen close to around 85,000 cases being registered or cases being reported last year alone, involving around 1.4 lakh crore losses. So it's very important to think about a solution and also to enable the best people come in the system. And yeah, so this is what happens. This is something which has been seen in our naked eye. So what happens? The 54% of employees who have been offered never join the company. So this is, again, a serious issue, especially in the early stages of their career. What they do, they, the process for the interviews, are, it takes around 3 or 4 rounds. In the meantime, it takes the time of HRs, then the talent acquisition heads and the business heads who are part of the interview process, a month or probably for 4 to 6 weeks, just go in transition, and on 25th day, the employee says, I'm not joining. So that gives, again, a large headache for the HR folks. And finally, this HR folks tag this candidates over LinkedIn, and that's the last-ditch effort, which goes in vain. Yeah, this is another example. MSMEs and SMEs, lose by 30%, and this is the prevalent problem. Very similar to the startups. So, and again here, the contracting staffs. It's kind of a double-edged sword. One side you have a contracting staff. Another side you have a low-key commitment, of an employee, and they're under-trained. And there are a couple of factors, which leads to the fallacy of these companies. What I mean is 1/3 is a very large number, especially SMEs and MSMEs. So we ask people to look before you hire. That's very, very important. So this is where we introduce Trusco. So the platform capabilities. So the first one is, it's very similar to your credit score, what I meant. So you can predetermine 1,000 points to start with. And whenever the candidates, since the platform processes, the tracking of the candidate's offer letter, once the candidates join, it adds up to their score. If the candidates do not join, in fact, the score, it determines on their score too. That is one factor. The other factor is, we also do BGV, which is optional. Yeah, apart from that, once the candidate is inducted, so it is verified. So we call it as a verified workforce. And moreover, once the candidate is verified, at the source, so there's no requirement of BGV to be repeated time and again. And the HRs or the organizations can create their own ethic barometer based on the norms of the company. And based on their ethics, the scores can be evaluated along the span of their work. And that apart, during their exit, whatever the certifications, it can be, it can be relieving letters or the experience certificates. Both can be given through the system. And this is made open with employees too. It's a two-way street. So both employees and employers can, able to look at it, and it's basically it's kind of a handshake. It happens. And the last thing is because based on the company's norm, anything goes red against the employees, the system also flags, red. Yeah, this is the Trusco process flow. So as I explained, So the offer letters be given, the candidate accepts on one side. If they do not join, you have the reports coming in, the reasons for not joining. On the other side, when candidate is inducted, and once the candidate is inducted, you have the verified workforce as a reference for the organization. Yeah, this entire system works on the open APIs. You can integrate it to your HRMS or your background verification systems. And this looks like your LinkedIn profile. This is the UX UI of the Trusco. And yeah, this is the chart flow of your offer letter, how it goes when candidate accepts or rejects. You have all these check marks. And this is the exit form. So we can customize the way you want. Whatever the reasons, you can make sure the employees before leaving, the credit score can be based on this exit forms. So coming back, we also provide instant verification, disbursal, and payroll split repayments. This is primarily for non-banking financial companies. Because we integrate ourselves with a lot of payroll companies, and all this can be taken care. And this is the process flow again. So you have home loan, your payday, personal loan, all can be integrated on one end, and which can reduce one bit of a process. So advantages of Trusco, primarily we call it as a community initiative, because we want more and more organizations not only talk about the ethics, they need to come out and practice in real terms, and they also need to look at to build the great employee experience. That's the whole idea. So the advantages of Trusco, so there's 90% reduction in wrong hires. You have 95% reduction in absconding employees, 80% reduction cost in 2 years, and BGV cost can be reduced to almost zero, and 90% reduction in employee unethical behavior. And a couple of ethic barometers, all can be recorded, and also it can be looked at or reducing those amount of traits. So what we mean is one wrong instance of hire, which can lapse huge amount of losses. So one wrong hire. So you have one virus can seriously disturb the entire company, and also the morale of the good people also may reduce when the action is not taken on time. So that is something we need to look at it. So these are the companies working with us. So we are talking to many different organizations. I guess over a time we'll have close to around 10,000 companies, and that's what we are trying to look at it. So these are the industry partners. So we are working with FIDC. Then we are working with World Association of Small and Medium Entrepreneurs. Yeah. So these are our advisory boards. So these are renowned names in the industry. And yeah, we have Satish Mehta, Srinivas Acharya, Girish Ramdas. Yeah, so this is our people. So I'm just cutting it short because of lack of time. I was told to speak for five minutes, so I'm sorry for that. Yeah, thank you.
So I already have Dr. Ravi Gupta sir on stage to felicitate Mr. Sainath S, Entrepreneur in Residence, TRST score. Thank you, sir. And there, Dr. Ravi Gupta is presenting the magazine to Sainath sir. And can we all give a huge round of applause, please?